All right, here we are. We got the Super Bowl final game of the season. It's been a great season. Before I get started, looking for subscribers, so click on the lower right. Let's get into this. So we got the Patriots versus the Seahawks. Uh, I'm interested to see how this goes, only because I think the Patriots they've had a phenomenal season, but when I watch them to the eye test, they don't tell me dominant team. Meanwhile, as much as it pains me as a Rams fan to say Seattle is meets the eye test, they do. Now, let's also look at the other side. New England as an organization, they seem to know how to win, and quite frankly, Seattle, they just don't have the history to show that they do. Not that that bears a factor, but it's just the type of thing where you look at it and go, wow, there's no reason why the Patriots should be this good at this point in time in their organizational rebuild, but they are, and I think that's a lot to do with really good drafting, Drake May, uh, other other signings, player development, and quite frankly, hiring Coach Vrabel. That dude just knows how to coach. The fact that Tennessee fired him is a mystery to me. And then Seattle, um, uh, uh, seeing uh, how how they've rebuilt, how the quarterback situation there, how he's rebounded and found himself is a great story to watch, in my opinion. Now, granted, if you are the type person who is just a hater, which a lot of us are, me too. So just so you guys know, I am a UCLA fan, so watching Sam Darnold be awesome can sometimes be difficult, but at the same time, I love seeing SoCal dudes go off and do really good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into this. So Seattle's favorite, they opened at 3.5. Last I looked, they were right around minus 4.5 with the money line at minus 238. I would not take the minus 238 on the money line. I would not start betting that until it's about 212. I would bet uh, Seattle the money line that they're gonna. I'm sorry, the spread is what I would take. Seattle spread minus 4.5 because the model has Seattle winning 68% chance with about a 5.5 point spread. So there's a little bit of money there. So this here is the Kelly criterion, which says that so it's positive. It's not. It's just barely above the threshold where I would say it's worth betting. But if I'm going to, that's a bet that I would make. So that is this number up here. The correlated point spread is where the model is strongest at. When I come down here to this Bayesian, I'm going to rename this next year. But what this is the models that says, hey, when both teams don't do quite as well, who ends up winning? And it has Patriots win by quite a bit more. I think there's a couple of reasons why I see that. Um, so let's kind of get into it. So the model has a 24 to 17 victory when you look at just the raw scores. I would tend to expect that New England's probably going to score higher than that. I would expect, especially throughout the playoffs, other than bad weather games, both teams tend to score higher in that range, which to me looks about right. A couple things here is you have a phenomenal passing game with Seattle, but what really is phenomenal is the defense. But then you come up here, you see this minus 24. I think that is actually misleading because as I've watched the Seattle running game throughout the playoffs, their running game, their offensive line game has been dominant. And that's going to, I think, really going to show itself on Sunday. When you come over here, though, you see a fantastic New England uh, passing game with an average rushing game and a good, slightly above average, but not great defense, not like what you see over here with Seattle. And all of those things are pointing towards a strong Seattle win. Then when you come over here to the passing charts, then a couple of things that might help New England is again they've got the number one passing game, and if they can air that out, they can the best defense sometimes is just a good offense, and that's going to be what New England's going to try and do. They got to try and keep the the Seattle defense on the field and keep them running and wear them down. And a pass game can do that. If you can keep getting passes, keep moving the ball down the field, that's what they're going to try and do. That will help open up some of that running game. You definitely see that the running game for New England is not nearly not as strong, but you get some of those potential peaks right up there. But then you come over here, you get definitely a higher upside over here for the Seattle passing game. And again, I'm not surprised to see that either. I do think that you're going to see a much more of a running game over here for Seattle than what this is showing. And that's really going to open up that passing game. Let's go over here to the right. The big thing that you see for Seattle is, and I focus on this on every single discussion, what does that explosiveness look like? This type of explosiveness that we see from Seattle is off the charts. Something else you see over here, which isn't surprising, both of these teams protect their quarterbacks. If you can protect your quarterbacks, they're not going to throw interceptions, they're not going to run around all crazy trying to make crazy plays, even though sometimes that does have to occur. And then that's going to open up those deep plays. Both of these teams have some pretty good deep plays. Remember, this is a matchup, so it isn't just which team has more deep plays. Is the algorithm goes through and says what's the probability of a team getting a big play versus what's probability of that defense getting a big play, and comparing all that to what the league average is. And then when you also look at the health, both of these teams look pretty healthy across the board. So what we should be seeing should be what we saw in this last game. I did not see any major injuries coming out of the last game. I'm sure that there's some dings, but and definitely take a closer look and adjust that. But all in all, it is in San Francisco. There's not going to be snow. There could be wind. There could be rain. That's always the case there. But at the same time, both of these teams seem to be going in healthy, and both of these teams are hitting. So it would not surprise me to see a higher scoring game. But when I watch Seattle, they meet the eye test, and they are balling right now. And I am reluctantly going to bet on Seattle, only because I hate Seattle a lot less than I hate San Francisco. So anyhow, have fun, enjoy the last game of the season, and we'll wrap it up.